Do a lot talking, got a Batmobile, I'm driving.
Hey guys, what's going on? We are back with more Pokemon Red. What we're starting with here is I leveled up my Nidoran, Mr. Royalty over here, up to level 8 off screen. He learned Horn Attack. Just to make it a little bit more fair for this next part, and also so I'm not favoring Bud, because I want to have a well-rounded team, because you kind of need it in Gen 1. You can't do what you can in the later gens of like spam your starter. It's a bit more difficult in this gen, so with that, let's push on north of Viridian City into this place, Viridian Forest. Let's do this, guys. Now, as you guys can tell, this isn't the actual music from the game. I decided to maybe try out the remixes, see if you guys like that better. And obviously, if you haven't noticed it, there seems to be something in the background. It seems like it's a little template for something. What do you guys think of it? I like it personally, but I made it, so I'm a little biased. So let me know what you guys think in the comments if you do like this template. First template I've ever made, and I think it looks good, but I don't want to toot my own horn, even though I have done it for the last 20 seconds. So, what we're doing in Viridian Forest is trying to find as many items and battle up trainers that we possibly can to move on forward to Pewter City. Now, as you saw, I got that Pokemon on the west side of the forest, and now we're battling the first trainer, who is not our rival, who isn't named. He's just Bugcatcher. So, yeah. That's one thing I loved about. I think it starts in Gen 2. I believe it does. But having the trainers actually have names is so much fun. It just makes it a bit more fun, so you're not just, oh, it's Bugcatcher, and Bugcatcher, it's like Bugcatcher John, or whatever. It was one of those improvements that was well needed, that I found. But enough about Gen 2, we'll get there at some point. As you see here, though, our Nidoran honestly just beats through everybody now because of the Horn Attack. The Caterpie, I think, yeah, because Caterpie's a bit more bulky than Weedle, so that does make sense. But, I mean, come on, I've taken 1 damage so far, and I've basically destroyed this guy. So, Nidoran is a really fun Pokemon to use really early on, especially for Viridian Forest. Nice little tidbit here. Since he's poison type, you don't need antidotes, even though I did purchase a crap ton in the last episode, and you find one right after you beat this trainer. Actually, you'll see a nice little antidote just up there. But if you use Nidoran, or, you know, in my case, I have Bulbasaur, who's grass poison, and Nidoran, who's just poison type. Poison types can't be poisoned, so you can easily just walk through this place, no problem. For the most part, though, I will only be showing battles from this point on that are mandatory. So if I have to go out of my way to train, or if it's a trainer that's avoidable, I know a lot of YouTubers do this, where they'll kind of just cut out boring battles, or battles that aren't necessarily that you have to do. So, for example, this battle here, you can go around him. I think actually the only trainer you have to battle in Viridian Forest is the guy at the end. I think you can avoid both of these bug catchers. So, you know, obviously from episode 3 onwards, I would have not shown these guys if we already talked about it. You know what I mean? And yeah, just Kakuna was really annoying, because obviously not having a special attack and having to rely on physical dealing damage and it using Harden was annoying, but thank God I got a critical there. And just like that, we've fought 4 Pokemon, and our Nidoran is the same level as our Bulbasaur now. Pretty sweet, eh? Doesn't take long. But yeah, I felt for this battle, since, you know, Royalty's up 4-0 on Bud in this episode. Give Bud a little bit of the spotlight, because, you know, he is our starter, and I don't want any particular Pokemon hogging the spotlight. Hence why I'll be building a team that kind of has different typings. I know in the end, Venusaur and Nidoking obviously will both be poison types, but I mean, Nidoking has some brilliant attacks later on, and it's a fun Pokemon to use. But I'll be using, like, obviously I'll have like a water Pokemon, possibly like fire, obviously in the flying type. So we're gonna mix and match. Hopefully you guys stick on with this journey so you can see how my team rounds itself out in the end. But yeah, there's the antidote I was talking about earlier. Now, what I do here is actually, I think it I'm in Gen 3 instead of Gen 1, and I think there's a trainer back up there, so I kind of was like, no, there's nothing up there, and then I'm like, oh, wait, there's a trainer, and then, as you see here, I turn back, get into 2 really annoying battles with Weedles that I just kind of run from, because don't really want to waste the PP on my moves and stuff, so I was just like, whatever. But as you see here, I go back up, and there's nobody. In Gen 3, and I think maybe even in Gen 2 when you come back here, basically, every game except this game where you're here, there is an extra bug catcher up there. I don't know why they decided to add him in the later games, because like since he's missing here, there's no real point to having a 4th trainer. But I was actually kind of hoping I'd run into like a Pikachu in here, but yeah, I don't think that happens. I don't want to say I run into a Pikachu and then I don't, or I don't run into a Pikachu and then I do, or whatever. But I was kind of really hoping for Pikachu to show up, maybe included on my team, not too sure. But yeah, no, this guy, I remember actually the first time I ever played this game, like, oh god, what was that, like 20 years ago or whatever. Even with Charmander, this guy was a pain, because the first time I battled him, I think that my Charmander was level 8, so he didn't have Ember yet, so, and obviously he was the higher level, so I was like, oh really, man? And then he kept poisoning me, and I just couldn't do it, and I was stuck here for the longest time, and my friend was laughing at me, and yeah, but I get lucky here. I mean, I know he can't poison you, but I get 2 criticals. Not only is that lucky in itself, but while you're recording, that is a huge bonus. But yeah, with that, that took what, 5 minutes, just over 5 minutes or whatever. Yeah, it's actually maybe just over 6 minutes to get through Viridian Forest. It's not that difficult, unless you're me with a level 8 Charmander the first time playing this game and you get screwed over by a Weedle because you keep getting poisoned. But yeah, here we are. We've made it to Pewter City, which we're gonna do a little bit of exploring here. Actually, we're not gonna go tackle the gym leader right away and press on with this journey. We're gonna elongate this runtime and talk to as many people as we can and go into these houses and see what's up, because you can just walk into people's houses. So this guy basically tells us that Pokemon learn moves as they level up, which we've noticed with Leech Seed on Bud and Horn Attack on Nidoran. I mean, that was off screen, but you see it. And that guy talks about, actually, I wasn't even paying attention. I think I just skimmed through that. And then the other guy, and then like I was saying, the first guy talks about there being TMs you can also use too. This guy kind of just says that there's not a lot of trainers here, people don't really care, except for this guy named Brock, who's supposedly the gym leader, which is kind of obvious to most people who play Pokemon. They know Brock is the first gym leader. So I end up talking to this guy, and this guy shows us where the museum is. Now, the museum, not really worth it to go here. I kind of just show you what's here, so I mean, if you're playing along, you don't really have to come here. It costs 50 Poké Dollars, so like 50 cents to get in or whatever. And honestly, it's this display case where this guy says, oh, it's a magnificent fossil, and it shows Aerodactyl. I cannot speak English when I do these things. And so you see an Aerodactyl fossil, and then you go down here and you see a Kabutops. And because it even tells you, and it's just saying, oh, they're rare and primitive Pokemon. And then you go up here, this guy tells you there's a space exhibit, because you're near Mount Moon, as you see here, and there's moonstones. This guy says what's so special about moonstones. As you guys can probably tell, I have a nice Nidoran, which falls into Nidorino, and then when you use a moonstone on it, you get a Nidoking. So that old person basically just says, I bought a color TV to watch the moon landing. That was a real life event. And she wants Pikachu, as do I, and he says she'll get one soon. And then there's a giant spaceship. So that's basically it, until later on, which we'll explain what goes on over there way down the line. Now, I head over here because Pokemon, the creators like to put in these hidden items, where, as you saw, like the Pokeball and the Antidote from Viridian Forest, those are items you can pick up. Now, sometimes they place random items that you can't see, and if you just happen to click on it, you can pick it up. But either I miss it completely, or there's nothing there. Not too sure. So we talked to this girl, and she's saying that Clefairy came from the moon, and moonstones at Mount Moon, so there's a conspiracy, I guess. Which is, it's interesting. It makes you think. It wasn't just straightforward like it kind of is now. It made you think a little bit. And this person's cool. They have a Nidoran as well. And this guy basically tells you that if you receive a Pokemon in trade, they gain more experience, but they might not listen to you. And if you have gym badges let certain levels speak to you better. So like one gym badge, like as long as it's level 30 or under, it will listen to you, and then you get another gym badge and it'll be level 50. So we head over, we talk to this guy, and this guy basically just brings us over to the Pokemon gym if you can't find it. But I mean, if you do some simple exploring on your own, you'll definitely see the gym because it says gym on it. Now what I do here is see when he walks off the screen, he walks that way. But like how? But yeah, so basically what I do here is I just switch Bud back into the lead. Thinking for some reason, my actual thought process on this was Leech Seed will be super effective once I use it on his Pokemon, because the first gym is, as you guys probably know, Rock type. But if you didn't know yet, it's basically Rock or Ground type Pokemon. So Diglett is obviously a Ground type, which I totally forgot about. I thought this guy only had a Sandshrew, but I guess that's later gens. Or does he still have Diglett? I'm not too sure. But yeah, basically in this battle, was not expecting the Diglett to be dealing that much damage, but thankfully I used Leech Seed, and honestly, you'll see as this battle rages on that Leech Seed saves my butt in this battle, both on his Diglett and his Sandshrew. I recommend, if you're using Bulbasaur, to get Bulbasaur at level 13, as you'll see after I complete this battle, why. Or if you're using Squirtle, I believe it's level 8, he learns Bubble, and you'll be fine. And Charmander, good luck. My tactic that I used to do when I was really young was train in the grass outside that little square of grass just outside after you come out of Viridian Forest until you have a Charmeleon. Yeah, that was my OG plan of dealing with Brock with Charmander, and then I was so overpowered that the rest of the game was a joke. So as we see here, I still have some decent health, thanks to Potion and the Leech Seed, but this first freaking turn screws us both over. We both miss. Then I pop another Leech Seed, which is the key in this battle, honestly. Leech Seed is so helpful. I used to always get rid of it just based on the fact of that it wasn't really an attacking move. Like, you had to kind of waste a turn to set it up, and then it heals you, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage. So I used to replace it as soon as I could. Now I kind of want to keep onto it as long as I can. But as you can obviously see its positives here. Like, I mean, that Diglett easily should have knocked me out way before I even got to this Sandshrew. And I'm just slowly picking down this Sandshrew, which isn't too bad. As you see here, obviously you think I'm gonna lose, and then I get lucky here where I'm like, oh no, he's gonna knock me out. But he goes for Sand Attack and misses. And then I get enough health so I know I can take another hit, maybe even a critical, and then I think I tie him in the speed break or something, or I'm obviously just faster than him, like 19 speed or 17, whatever it was before. But there's the junior trainer out of the way, and honestly, just, I guess, barely. He could easily knock me out if I didn't do the tactic with that. So as I do here, what I'm doing here, is I basically just go back to heal. And then I make the decision of, you know what, I'm not going to be able to fight Brock, who has a Geodude and an Onix, level 12 Geodude and level 14 Onix, with normal type moves. So I go to train my Bulbasaur up to level 13, as you'll see here. So he learns a certain move that will help me so much against Brock. You have no idea how much this move just destroys him. But before we go, we just talk to these guys. Basically, it says Jigglypuff puts you to sleep. And this guy over here says Team Rocket's at Mount Moon, and then he basically tells you to scram because he's on the phone. He's rude and he's grumpy. So yeah, before we fight Brock, let's go level up our Bulbasaur to level 13 and see what happens. A little bit of a cut, battling his Pokemon, but as you see, level 12, and I'm against this level 3 Pidgey. And I do a tackle on it to deal some damage. Still surprised it deals 3 damage with a gust. And then I knock down this Pidgey, gain 23 experience, go to level 13, and what happens? We learn Vine Whip. Vine Whip is our first actual, I think, physical grass type move. I don't think it's special. Yeah, no, Razor Leaf's the special one, I believe. So with that, I just head back up here to make sure I'm not an idiot and go in without healing my team. Which, you know, I've done that before where I forget to heal going into a gym leader, and then he destroys me, and then I'm like, well, that was a waste of 2 minutes. I should have healed. So make sure you're always healed before you fight gym leaders, unless you know for sure you're going to one-hit everything and outspeed them. Which, I mean, you can never really be too sure. So with that, let us go and fight the first gym leader of the 8 we have to see, as you can tell by the template on the right. There's 8 empty spots above badges. So let's get our first notch in the belt, guys. And he tells you here that all his Pokemon are rock type. So normal type moves do not work, and also if you happen to have electric, I think it affects Onix. I don't think Onix is rock ground, or am I just dumb? Anyway, Geodude level 12 basically just has, I think it's Tackle? Yeah, it's Tackle and Defense Curl. Tackle, obviously, you know what that does, and Defense Curl raises its defense. Like I said, because of the Vine Whip, this battle is insanely easy. Like, you'll see. Like, down goes Geodude, just like that. Level 12, no contest. Now he sends out his level 14 Onix, which has Tackle, Defense Curl, and Bide. I believe those are his 3 moves. And Onix is actually a lot faster than it looks. Also, it's level 14, but as you see here, 1 Vine Whip knocks down Onix. Like, you're not really over-leveled at this part, too, because technically you're right in between his Pokemon. So you're not, like, I guess, cheating it or whatever. If you want to think, like, oh, you're being over-leveled, it's cheating or whatever. So I'd say Bulbasaur level 13 is the perfect Pokemon to knock down Brock. It honestly takes 2 Vine Whips to take down both his Pokemon, 1 each, and boom, just like that, we get the Boulder badge. As Brock stands there with his arms crossed on his chest and he's shirtless. Basically also says that Flash can be used outside of battle, and he doubles our money. I actually go and check that later. He legit doubled our money, I think, to the dollar. As you see up in that, under that badges section, got that nice, beautiful looking Boulder badge. And he then gives us the TM, which we learned from that guy earlier, for the move Bide. Now, Bide, as he says here, basically you can't attack, you take damage, and then if you live, whatever damage you've taken, you'll double it and send it back as a huge attack. It can be helpful. I personally do not like the move, especially because it's normal, so I don't really like it. So, with that, I go off and I heal my, I guess, slightly wounded Bulbasaur and my perfectly healthy Nidoran. And I guess we'll end things off here. Basically, what I end up doing now is we will be moving on to fighting through Mount Moon, I guess, and moving on to our second gym leader. As you can tell, there is Misty in Cerulean City. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Smash that like button if you love the new template. See you guys later.